some Python libraries like pandas, numpy, and how to do the analysis of that data, how we can modify the data, what sort of things we have to be analyzed through the data, and how we can make the visualization of that data. So one of the famous data set is available on the net, iris.csv file. You can also download that file. You can get the details of that file. So we'll start with that. Just I share my screen with you. Yes, screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and everyone should follow me that. And this is a very important thing to be understand as far as the theory and practical exams are concerned. For that, this is the iris.csv file that I received from the internet, and which consists of certain data. And this is the just a structured data that I received, and we have to analyze this data. This file may contain some null value or may not contain the null value. Some missing values are there. What exactly inside the file, that we'll see first. So the first attribute is ID. So every record is having the unique ID 1 2. Maybe repetition in the ID is also there. That also we don't know because the data is received from some other sources. So maybe there is an last value is 150. So we can say it's a 150 records. I just need to check whether it is a 150. So you have to just select all the records and you can find that count is 150. So total number of records are 150, and every attribute is have a certain name. So sepal length, sepal width, petal length, and petal width. And this is the species. Iris setosa, I think Iris versicolor, then Iris virginica, and yes, three different species are there. And these are the width and height, length, length, width of the sepal and petal. Certain values are there, and you can observe that values are in between the umbrella of 1 to 6. Artificial intelligence 1 to 6, in between 1 to 6 for the length. Similarly for the width also certain values. We'll do the analysis through the coding. So first you need to understand the data set. This is my data set which consists of 6 attributes: ID, sepal length in centimeter, sepal width in centimeter, petal length in centimeter, petal width in centimeter, and the final one is spaces. So this is the particular data set I have in a CSV format. अभी मुझे उसको ऑपरेट करके उसमें से डेटा एक्सट्रैक्ट करना है. So when you get the CSV file, we can easily import the data by using Python library. तो यहाँ पे दो पैकेजेस हैं, एक numpy and pandas. These two are very powerful packages in a Python, which are responsible to handle CSV file, Excel file, JSON file, HTML file. So whatever the data you have, you can extract that data from the file. As I said, whether it is a CSV, whether it is a Excel, JSON, or any other kind of file format. So once you extract the data from the file, Python can store it in one of the data structures. So that may be the list, that may be the tuple, that may be the data frame, that may be the dictionary. So it is a developer choice that which particular data structure you want to select to preserve the data in a Python coding. So let it be, this is the file of 150 records, which is a CSV file format. Now I'll extract this file by using pandas and numpy. So now we'll see through the coding. So anyone is having doubt in the CSV file? ये फाइल थोड़ा समझ गया सबको, initial fundamentals of the file?
Yes, sir.
When you received any file or any data set, what sort of things you need to be considered? The file should be in the appropriate format. जो भी कुछ format हो वो आपके understandable way में होना चाहिए. If I'm not able to understand the file, then it is not able to process that file. वो आपको पहले देखना है. फिर if it is a structure, check the number of rows and columns and the attributes having proper name. If it is not, we have to process it in other ways. That is the second observation should be there in the data set. So I just
त्याच्यामध्ये include करायची that URL consists of some information.
at this side.
So what the information
need this
we understand as a Google server?
Only at
ॲज अ गुगल सर्व्हर.
गुगल सर्व्हरला माझ्याकडनं क्वेरी केल्यानंतर गुगल सर्व्हर here defines only the data networks and last network access.
ओके, इसको हम थोड़ा जैसे ट्रायल एंड एरर बेस में उसको 2020 करके देखता हूँ. So whether it is visible or need to be increased more. ये है क्या सबको? Visible everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So get the 3-4 confirmation. So I'll say it's invisible to all. So these two packages are there. That packages are responsible to perform certain action. So abhi, how to import the package? The first thing, how to import the package. So you might be aware of it. How to import the package? Many of the students might be aware of it. These things. अगर जिनको पता नहीं उनके लिए just revision होगा. जिनको पता नहीं उनके लिए newly होगा और जिनको पता है उनके लिए revision होगा. So there are many ways are there that we can install the package in the Python. So basically, if you know the name of package and that package in your system, you can directly import it. So you have to write import. Import means I'm accessing the data of that package, name of the package. Suppose any particular package I'm using. Let's say I'm using math. This is the package. In name of package, it holds the many functions inside it, and that function is responsible to take a certain action. तो math dot के अंदर कुछ methods होंगी, वो method हमें when we use this package, that time we can access the method. So under that package we have multiple methods that we can use in our programming. So simply you can write a import math so that we can access the functionality of the math package in my program. As if I want to rename, I can rename it with an m. Then we can access yum dot. These are the methods. You know that the value of a pi is 3.14 or 22/7. That value will be stored in this package. Many things are there, sign, cost, and many mathematical operations that can be handled by this package. So likewise, you can import the package. But if that package is not available in my system, for example, Keras might be not there. Keras. We can observe that there is a red line under the name Keras. The meaning of the red line is that that particular package is not installed in my system. So once I go to that name of that package or the red line, जहाँ पे red line वहाँ पर अगर आप cursor लेके जाओगे, so you'll get an error. What sort of error is there? The error name is mentioned no module name Keras. दिख रहा है सबको no module name Keras?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
It means that that particular libraries is not available in my compiler. So what I need to do? I need to install that package. I'm not going to install the Keras because it is not required right now. So I'll just explain you the process how to do that. So what you need to do, you need to type the command pip install name of the package. Suppose I want to install the numpy. Keras अभी हमें नहीं लग रहा है, तो I'm not going to install the Keras. So I just press enter after typing the command pip install numpy, and there should be a net connectivity in your system. So it will install immediately, and here is displaying the message requirement already satisfied. If the package is already in your system, then it will display this message requirement already satisfied. If the package is not installed in your system, then it will install the package. Many time what happens, students are not aware of it whether that package is installed or not. So instead of typing this command, we can verify whether that package is existing in a compiler or not. तो पहले आप वो भी वेरीफाई कर सकते हो कि आपके पर्टिकुलर कंपाइलर में वो पैकेज है या नहीं. So for that you have to click on a file, go to the setting. I just repeat, go to the file, click on a setting, just go to the project, go to the interpreter, because we are working on the interpreter. And the Python is an interpreter language, so we are working on a Python interpreter, and these are the packages already in my compiler. So अगर आप लोगों को ये visible है, ये visible आपको यहाँ पे देखो numpy दिख रहा है, is it दिख रहा है ये सबको?
Yes, sir.
Very good. So the numpy is visible, so the package is already installed. And if I don't know the command, अगर मुझे command नहीं पता है तो फिर मैं वो install नहीं कर सकता. So there is a way that you can install the package from here. I just again repeat this process. Go to the file, click on the setting, click on Python interpreter, click on this plus sign to install the package. Click on the plus sign, just write the name of package that I want to install. For example, I want to install Keras. The name package Keras is there. It is used for deep learning. So I'm not going to install it right now. So I just click on the NumPy. Package is there, fundamental package for array computation in Python. Click on the package. Here is the tab to install the package. Just click on the install package and you will get the message package installed successfully. If it is already installed, once you click it, just check whether it is installed or not. अगर install है तो just message display करेगा कि install successfully. अगर नहीं है तो फिर install करके message display करेगा install successfully. There might be some error you can face while installing the package. So that error you have to remove by checking the whether spelling name of the package is incorrect. Might be certain dependencies while installing the package is required for the system that you have to verify. But for NumPy and Pandas, there should not be any much requirement. It can be easily installed without any kind of external dependencies. Okay, so I think it is very much clear to everyone that how to install the package either by using command prompt or either by using this setting command. Clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
So I just write these two packages here, import NumPy as NP and import Pandas as a PD. So NumPy is a numerical Python. The meaning of this package is numerical Python. All the numerical operation we can handle through this NumPy. For example, I want to do the matrix multiplication. I want to find out the average, mean, median. That time we can use this NumPy package. At a time we can pass multiple record. अगर मेरे particular data set के अंदर more than 1 lakh records है, that I can easily find out the summary of that record, mean, max, average, or we can say standard deviation of that particular data set. We can easily find out through this NumPy package. For example, if I use this np dot, and we can find this number of methods are available under that package. So sum, mean, max, any array point, but like an array as well. So all the data structure we can handle through this NumPy package. Toward the second name of this package is Pandas. So Pandas is also very powerful, which will work on the data set. So whatever the data set is available, might be it is in Excel, CSV, JSON, that data we can extract to the Pandas. There is no any other alternative that we can read these files. We have to follow this package to import the data set into our program. So I just check first whether that program is clear or not. So I just put it the multi-line command here. हमें आज पूरा देखना है, वन लाइन डालेंगे, हम उसको फॉलो करेंगे. I just put a comment here. Then it is fine. Okay, fine. And I just execute the command. So I just write the name of the compiler Python and the name of my file. My file is code.py. Or last Python code.py. So only one line of code over here, that is print. And it is in very simple language Python. It's very straightforward. You can write the command directly. Whenever I want to take the input, I just write input. Whenever I want to display anything, I just write a print. As simple as. So you can observe that first two lines are again in the gray color, because I am not using any particular method of the two packages. Unless and until I use that method, the color will not get changed. So once I execute this particular program, the first line of the program is welcome, and that is being executed successfully. So it means that whatever the program I have started is now successfully created in my compiler, and it get executed with the first very simple like print and welcome. So now next thing is we have to do the analysis of data set whatever we have. Now I'm using pandas file to read the data. So I'm store this data set in the G drive. The name of file is iris.csv. I'll just show you that this G drive, and you can find name of the file. So under the G drive, you can find this iris.csv file is there, comma separated value. The same file I'm going to access through this pandas package. So read CSV is a method. So once I write pd dot, there are many ways are there that we can access the If I am having the CSV file, there is a method read CSV. If I am having Excel file, तो read Excel भी होगा. एक काम करते हैं, read में type कर लेता हूँ. हाँ. So read CSV, read Excel, read HTML, read JSON. So likewise, this different file format I can access the different data set. So first I want to access the CSV file. जो भी file आपको access करना है वो वहाँ पे लिखना है. Then I'm going to write the print data command. So once I execute this command, what will happen? Whatever the data is available under this file, it is get printed. So this particular data is converted into data frame. So data frame is nothing but rows and column. Sorry. So data frame is in storage space where we can store the record in terms of rows and columns. So this is the CSV file. We can extract the data from this file and store into data in terms of readable format, like in rows and columns. So just execute this function more. Sorry, this execute the program one more time. Python code.py. Now you can find this particular file is going to be displayed, and the data is, let's say, ID, sepal length, sepal width, petal width, and spaces. 0, 1. Sorry, this is in by default index. 1 ID is 1, sepal length is 5.1, 3.5, 1.4, 0.2, and iris setosa. So this way we can find the correct data has been displayed. Along with that, it display the number of rows and number of columns. But separately, instead of printing the complete data, अगर मुझे number of rows and number of columns देखने हैं, so you can do that with the help of and data.shape. Data.shape. So I'm using the one more method, the data frame, that is a shape. What is the shape of my data? And I put the comment to the very first line. So you can use this sign to comment a single line code. Whenever there's a multi-line comment, you can use a quotes, triple quotes. So I just save the program. Now what will happen, instead of printing all the data, I just want to check the how many number of rows and columns are there in my data set. So I'll again execute this command. We can find only this shape is been displayed. That is the size of the record, number of rows and number of column, RC, row and column. So 150 records, sorry, rows and 6 columns. Getting it, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So likewise, we'll now do the analysis of further data.
We'll proceed with the last concept of which करनी है तो again.
So moving ahead, once we check the shape of the data, now one by one we will check the other method. So data.shape method is completed, so I will remove that method. Now there are two methods are there, head and tail. So whenever I just use the head method, so it will print the first 5 records, only first 5 records. And whenever I want to print the last 5 records, we can use this tail method. So print data.tail method, which will print the 5 record, last 5 record. So when we execute this data.head method, so it will print the first 5 record of the file. So you can observe now the first 5 record. Sorry. So this first 5 record should be displayed through this head method like this. And once I execute the tail method, the last 5 record will get displayed. Now we'll see through the execution whether it is working fine or not. Every time you have to save the code and you have to just execute it. So initially, fine, the first 5 record is been displayed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the same attribute. For all attributes are considered. If it is having 20 attribute, 50 attribute, 60 attribute, and number of attribute. So it is very easy to check the first 5 record through this head method. Sometime we have to check whether I'm whatever the data I'm extracting from the CSV file, whether it is correct or incorrect. You can just go with the head method instead of printing a complete data frame. If you want to check the last 5 record, we can use a tell method. So we can find, sorry, the last 5 records are like this. This is the last 5 records, and you can see this last 5 records: 146, 6.73, 5.2, and it's a Virginica. 150, 5.93, 5.1, 1.8, and again Iris Virginica. So might be it is very clear for all that how you are going to display the selected records. So I'm going to
Yes, sir.
easily, yeah, yes, I am easily print the first 5 record, last 5 records. Moving ahead for the next method. Sometime I want to do the sum, mean or median of that particular डेटा. अगर मुझे इस पर्टिकुलर डेटा का सम करना है, आई वांट टू डू द सम ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर एट्रीब्यूट और अ कॉलम. ये पूरे कॉलम में जितने भी रिकॉर्ड है उनका मुझे सम करना है या फिर मीन करना है. बिफोर डूइंग दैट आई नीड टू चेक is any record is missing, is any record is missing. So I just enlarge this Excel sheet and I'll just verify manually first whether any record is missing. So I just scan the complete file and whether any record is missing, I'll check once. Okay, the first column, sorry, second column don't have any missing value. All values are there in my second column. So if any value is not missing, I can directly use a mean method. But these are only 150 records. अगर मेरे फाइल के अंदर 1 lakh रिकॉर्ड है, so it is very difficult for me to check manually. If data is generating real time, then also it is difficult whether it is having null value or a missing value or any garbage data. So what we need to do, we need to check whether any null value is there in my attributes. So there is a method. So इसको हमें delete करेंगे. जैसे जैसे होता है हम उसको remove करेंगे. So there are 3 different ways are there to check the null methods. So I'm going to write print is null. So print data frame dot is null. Whether it contain any null values in the data set. So here what I'll do initially now, जो execute हुआ है उसको मैं comment करते जाऊंगा so that it won't affect in our output. तो हमें वो easy से समझ जाएगा. फिर भी किसी को अगर है question, you can ask the question in between as well. I just want to clear the file and I just execute the code again. You can find whether any data is null. So here everything is false, false, false. So no data is null. Observe here. So if it is a null, true value will be there. If any there data is there, it will return a false. So looking at this all attribute, it looking a false. कहीं पे भी true नहीं दिख रहा है. So what it means? Data is null. Now there is a different methods are there. Is null we can use as well. Is na is also used. I'll share this code file with you. You can try at your home as well. So यहाँ से उसको remove करेंगे. So that you can check whether that method is na. Just give me 5 minutes. I will start again system. Are you getting it or you are get bored? समझ रहे सबको? Yes, screen is visible.
Yes.
Yes.
So we'll start again with the same inline of this. So the thing we are discussing about is null. It's finished. So print another method of this null function data dot is na. You see the difference of every method. So I put it off here. The first time it will take certain time to access the file from the drive, and then it will print the output. So now it's here. So, this is the attributes where we get out false by using is null method. Where anywhere is null found, then it will print a true. If it is no null, then it will print a false. Talking about the second method, so you'll get the same output in the both method. So alternatively, any particular method you can use to find out whether the value is null or not null. So this both method you can use as per the convenient or understanding. The outcome of both the method will return a boolean value, that is true or false, 0 or 1. We can also mention in the parameter, agar aap parameter likhte ho to false can be replaced with the 1 0 as well. So this is the second way that you can use. Now we have to print the column wise null value. How many nulls are there? How many missing values are there? That also we have to find out. So we can find out that by using any method. So I'm using print. I'll mark a comment to this line. I don't want to print now is null. I want to print is any null value in the respective column. And now one by one, how many columns are there? 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. So data type is
So you're not audible.
hello. Now it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if I want to कहाँ तक थे अभी हम ये यही फंक्शन ना print data is any yes or no.
Yes, sir.
So is in any means every column of that file is get verified. अगर किसी एक भी वैल्यू यहाँ पे मिसिंग होगा या फिर नल होगा या फिर नहीं होगा, so it will print a true. Now my second objective is that once I check whether any value is null or not null, by looking at this column all values are having true, so it means data is there. I want to check sum as well. If I want to check sum of the values, how many values are 0, so you can use any sum method. So I just going to use this method, print data is any sum. What is the sum of that values? So I just save the code. Just get this 0. Okay. So just comment this line as well. Understand more. Any particular 0 value is there. So 0 0 values. So it means that every attribute contains some values. If any attribute contain 0 values, then it will reflect the name of that particular attribute along with the number of zero occurred in that value. So ये हो गया खत्म, यहाँ तक हमने कर लिया. यहाँ तक किसी को डाउट है? Any doubt?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, any some परत एकदा explain करा.
So suppose if I want to check any attribute is having null value, so what we can do, we can write this data frame dot is any, so it will print true or false. is any method will print false false. अगर वहां पे एक भी वैल्यू जीरो होगा या फिर नल होगा या फिर नहीं होगा, so it will print a true. So we get an idea about is any column contain null value. तो यहाँ पे कोई भी कॉलम का वैल्यू नल नहीं है. If it is null value, then I want to check how many values are null. यहाँ पे हमें उसका काउंट नहीं मिलेगा, we'll get only true, but how many values are null, that we have to figure it out. So what we can write, we can use sum method. Sum will return the number of values are zero or number of values are missing, number of values are incorrect, that is going to be checked by this method. So if I again exit, here I'll get a zero क्योंकि हमारे पास सब false थे तो definitely zero आना था. That is the difference between any and sum. Now initially we had discussed अगर head है तो first 5 record, अगर tail है तो last 5 records, is it? Now I'm not interested in the first 5 and the last 5 records. I want to print a certain range of records. Like I want to print 10 to 21 जो हमने वहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है function उसके हिसाब से. I want to print this number of rows. Instead of printing first 5 and the last 5, I'm looking at the precise record.
Okay.
Or
Or
specific
why
record,
we have
specific
particularly
row.
selected that.
Then also we can retrieve that record by using the specific index. ये index कैसे work होगा वो भी हम देखेंगे. Let's write print data colon 21. Now here I just write so I want to print this specific row number 10 to row number 21. So we can just mention it in the square bracket starting point colon ending point. So this will print the record from the 10th index to the 21th index. So I just comment all other lines and now I'll save the code. Save the code and execute it. I'll get this specific record, that is 10 to 20. Sorry, 11 to 21. So the first record, that index start from 0. अगर आपको head function फिर से दिखाऊंगा मैं तो immediately आपको समझ आएगा कि difference क्या है इसमें. Again compile the हाँ, that index start from 0. That is only the reason. So when we start the head, that index start from the 0 and the record ID start from 1. The same thing here, it data start from 20. It is a starting point, it is an ending point. If I'm interested to print only the regular range, suppose I want to print every after 2 record, every after 3 record, in between that range, so we can write it the size, how many records we have to step up. जैसे कि हम for loop में लिखते हैं कि मुझे एक से step up होना है, normally एक से step होता है, 10 to 21 है तो फिर sequentially वो print होगा. अगर मुझे एक रिकॉर्ड स्किप करना है उसके बिटवीन 10 to 21 का तो हम 2 कर सकते हैं. अगर मुझे 2 रिकॉर्ड स्किप करने तो मैं यहाँ पे 3 लिख सकता हूँ. सो लाइकवाइज आल्सो वी कैन मेक दी मॉडिफिकेशन. ये सब आप लोग देख के कर सकते हो. राइट. नेक्स्ट थिंग इज दैट दिस इज दी, जस्ट इसको कमेंट कर देते हैं एक बार फिर से, उसको एग्जीक्यूट करते हैं. तो ये जो रिकॉर्ड्स है 10 to 21, आई एम वर्किंग ऑन ओनली दिस रिकॉर्ड्स. अभी नेक्स्ट टास्क होगा कि मुझे वही जो 10 रिकॉर्ड मैंने लिए हुए उनको ही ऑपरेट करना है, रादर देन working on the whole file rather than working on all attributes. हाँ, तो हो सकता है कि स्पेसिफिक आपको कुछ रिकॉर्ड पे वर्क करना है, तो आपने ये अभी डेटा 10:21 कर लिया. वी हैव टू प्रिजर्व दिस. फिर एक डेटा फ्रेम में हम उसको प्रिजर्व करेंगे. जो पहला डेटा है वो क्या है? कंप्लीट डेटा फ्रेम विच कंटेन CSV फाइल. अभी मैंने क्या किया? डेटा 10:21. अगर वही डेटा मैं एक्सट्रैक्ट करके ऑपरेट करना चाहता हूँ यहाँ पे, तो फिर मैं यहाँ पे ये दो लाइन ऐड करूंगा, स्लाइस डेटा. सो दिस डेटा इज गेट स्लाइस्ड एंड द स्पेसिफिक पोर्शन इज बीन स्टोर इनटू द डेटा फ्रेम. तो ये और एक डेटा फ्रेम होगा जिसमें हम क्या करेंगे? स्पेसिफिक रिकॉर्ड स्टोर करके रखेंगे एंड देन आई कैन ऑपरेट विद द स्लाइस डेटा. सो हम इसको भी एग्जीक्यूट करेंगे. we'll get this records separately in the slice data. सो अभी मेरे पास दो डेटा फ्रेम है. एक है मेरा ओरिजिनल डेटा फ्रेम विच कंटेन ऑल द रिकॉर्ड्स, और मेरा दूसरा डेटा फ्रेम है उसके अंदर मैंने कुछ रिकॉर्ड स्टोर किया. आप जितने चाहिए उतने रिकॉर्ड वहां पे स्टोर कर सकते हो. इट इज लाइक ए सबसेट ऑफ द डेटा फ्रेम. स्लाइस डेटा इज ए सबसेट ऑफ your original data frame. Sometime it is required to be operated on a certain data. Next thing is that these are the name of our attribute or a column name: id, sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width. By looking at this I won't understand sometime. So what I need to do, उसको मुझे rename करना होगा for my understanding. That also possible. अगर कोई specific attribute है वो मुझे नहीं लग रहा है, so that also I can drop. So by using add and drop method, we can add a specific attribute, we can drop a specific attribute, we can rename the specific attribute. वो भी हम कर सकते हैं, वो भी हम देखेंगे आगे. यहां तक किसी को डाउट है? एनी डाउट टू दिस पॉइंट?
नो सर.
नो सर.
अगर आप अभी एक्सेल फाइल देख रहे हो तो हमने क्या किया था? 10 to 21 रिकॉर्ड सिलेक्ट किए, लेकिन उसमें से सब एट्रीब्यूट हमने सिलेक्ट कर लिए. नॉट इंटरेस्टेड इन ऑल एट्रीब्यूट. अभी मुझे स्पेसिफिक एट्रीब्यूट चाहिए, ये दो एट्रीब्यूट चाहिए या फिर ये तीन एट्रीब्यूट चाहिए स्पेसिफिक. आईडीज एंड स्पेसेस, ये फर्स्ट वाला चाहिए, ये लास्ट वाला चाहिए. आई एम नॉट लुकिंग ऑन दिस एट्रीब्यूट्स, आई एम जस्ट लुकिंग ऑन दिस and this last one. So first and last attribute I am looking to process the data. So in that case we have a choice to select the specific attribute as well. तो यहाँ पे अगर आप देखोगे तो फंक्शन में यहाँ से मैं कॉपी करूँगा. No need to remember any single method at your end. It is very straightforward. As soon as you work on the data you can get an idea. It is very easy. Sometime you'll get an error. You can remove that error with the help of just a minute. So I just working on these two specific attributes, id and species, which I mentioned over here, and we can write it. As I said, there might be some errors when you type the code. You can easily rectify it immediately. Immediately you can rectify it and you can remove that error. There is no any challenging task in this framework. So now the specific data head has been printed with that 10 record. So only this IDs and species records will get print. Remaining will not get print. So this is the fundamental portion about the case study. यहाँ तक हमें देखना था पहले केस स्टडी में, और फिर जब हम नेक्स्ट यूनिट खत्म करेंगे तो फिर आगे का कुछ हमें देखना है. सो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट द डेटा सेट दैट वी हैव टू ऑपरेट. और एक चीज रिमेनिंग वो भी कंप्लीट करेंगे, फिर हम स्टॉप करेंगे आज का. आई जस्ट वांट टू शो यू दिस. Can find now only this 10 records has been print with the specific attribute. I can add again one more attribute, that is also fine. But the name of the attribute should get matched properly. If this name is incorrect, then you will not get a result. I'm not talking about the spelling. I'm not talking about upper and lowercase. I'm talking about the spelling mistake. If you did any spelling mistake in between, you won't get a particular attribute. Okay. And the last thing that I want to be data dot describe, and I just comment this license data. Okay, I just want to create the data frame. So I have two data frame, slice data and data, and I just describe the data dot describe. The same thing I can do with the slice data. Print license data dot describe. And now I just execute this commands. Now you can see. So this is, I think, it will print a specific head. So for a complete data set, this is the count 150 records. This is the mean. This is the standard deviation, minimum value 50%, 70%, 75%, 50%, maximum value. For those I selected 10 records, 11 record, 10 to 21. That 11 record summary is quite different, or we can say description is different. Mean is different, minimum is different, maximum is different. So likewise, तो यहाँ पे maximum 150 है because there are 150 IDs and the last ID is 150. So maximum record is 150. Similarly here also max is 11 record. So total number of IDs are there. So likewise we can do the simple analysis of the data set. So as a case study, you have to prepare individually a one file which contains certain record and write it down all these methods. That is the case study of us unit number 1. And this is all about the unit number 1 of big data and data science. If you have any query, you can ask. किसी को डाउट है अभी यहाँ तक?
No, sir.
So if it is clear to everyone, then we can conclude.
Sir, can you share this file? Code.py.
Code.py. Yes. I will share that file. What I'll do instead of that, you people can directly use that code. I just copied it to the chat window. Fine.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
And you will get that iris.csv file. अगर नहीं है तो फिर मैं यहाँ पे अपने वो गूगल क्लासरूम में भी शायद से बनाया नहीं हमने डेटा साइंस का, तो उस पर मैं अपलोड कर दूंगा. Just a minute. We'll do that immediately so that everyone will get this data set as well. First of all, you have to join for that code, data science and big data. So add one class. So being the session, I'll just share the code with you. This is sample data set is available on the net as well. It's not a big deal. So everyone will get a code.
Yes, sir.
Join that class. Yes, many people are joining. Fine. It's working, I think. So next is attendance. 19.
Present, sir.
20. 1. 2. 8. 9. 60. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5.
Present, sir.
6. 7.
Present, sir.
8.
Present, sir.
9.
Present, sir.